I don't know if I've ever seen a company innovate and refresh as fast as WorkSharp and their knife division. And I have right here a blade I've been looking forward to sharing with you since the moment it arrived, the brand new Madrone by WorkSharp. Now, this takes the heart of everything we know about the RMX series with integral handles, and it ships to you as a push button manual, but on the fly, you can swap it into a push button auto. Now pivots to not only a new handle material, a new handle shape, new blade shape, and a new pocket clip. And so today I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys, taking you along for the ride, hanging out on top of Mount Blue Sky, 14,000 feet, putting this blade through its paces to see how it performs, but also unpacking all these new characteristics that WorkSharp is bringing to the table. So for all you regular viewers, welcome back. Thanks for hanging with me today. If you're new to the channel, I'm Aaron. This is Gideonstactical. Let's dive in and talk some blades. Now, I usually like to kick things off with some beautiful blade action, showing you how the knife can cut, but we'll get to that in a second because I feel like the new handle material and design is really what a lot of you are going to be curious about and the potential showstopper in this new model. Because when we look at its predecessor, the RMX, when it was released and I first got my hand on a sample, what stood out was that they chose magnesium and decided to do an integral, so one slab of magnesium, and then make the handle out of that. So there are no seams, no nothing, and they chose that type of material, which was really unique along with many of the other features. Well, with this particular model, they've chosen to use a US billet of aluminum, bring all of the machining in-house to the Oregon facility for WorkSharp, and give us an integral aluminum handle for the Madrone. So now you have two choices, and just means for a really nice streamlined profile. There are three Cerakote colors currently at release. I have here what they call copper suede. Totally dig it because it's not really like a copper color. It's not like high-vis orange. It's not like brown leather suede. It's kind of this blend, high-vis blend, if you will. There is a, I think they call it like titanium blue that looks sick. And then there is a black as well. So those are the current three options, but you know, they do a lot of limited run stuff, and I'm sure there will be different color combinations down the line. Now, along with that, when we look at the drop, this is what's really interesting, is the first ergonomic aspect that they've changed, where the RMX is ergonomic. I mean, I have no hot spots, feels good in the hand, you know, definitely does what you want it to do, and that's partly due to the transitional shoulders. It is square. I mean, it's square and kind of coffin shaped, so I'd give it like a solid like 8 out of 10 for ergonomics for your pocket knife. Well, if that's an 8 out of 10, the contour and the slight sweep not only makes it look a little stealthier, a little bit more like a barracuda flying through the water. Well, we're getting skunked today, getting white caps almost as we're out here fishing, but she's doing a good job cutting lots of line when we get tangled up. It just fits in the hand better. It just fits in the hand that much better, sweeping into a more natural grip with that slight drop right there. So this is spinal tapping it, taking it up to 11, and now locks me in even more. I got plenty of real estate with my large size hands. You can see there, 3 1/4 knuckle span across. The handle's like 4 1/4, and then from guard to end point, which is actually where you grip, is like 3.7 inches, I'd say, something like that, right? Then they've also kind of changed the shoulders. You have this kind of concaving in to the flats, whereas we had just kind of like a radiused portion right there on the original RMX. Doesn't create any hot spots, really locks me in, feels good and comfortable. And then we do have that choil, which is necessary for the mechanism. We'll get into a little bit how that functions when we start actually cutting and using the blade in just a moment. The other interesting part, the aluminum is slightly heavier. This knife is going to be about 3.3 ounces, if I remember correctly, and it's noticeably a little heavier than the magnesium RMX, which is under 3 ounces. So I think we got a pretty good picture on the new handle design and materials, but what about this new profile on the M390 blade? This kind of drop clip point is very unique. How does it actually cut stuff? I'm totally digging the new redesign on the pocket clip, or just a different version, I guess. but I would argue it's probably a little more ergonomic, ambidextrous as always, but it's been working real well as like a low profile deep ride. Deep ride pocket clip. Now I've been EDCing this, whoops, like crazy since the day I got it about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. So this is not the first excursion, as always with this. And it has been performing very nicely with that high flat grind, with that swedge and the kind of, it's a unique clip point. You know, it's not just your standard clip point. And that tip is very good for precision cuts, which is, this is still, you know, like designed for that precise cut. But I've always appreciated that size range, you know, a little over 3 inches. I think it's 3 1/4, top of my head, about 3 inches even for the cutting. But yeah, I mean, it almost just like falls through cardboard and that type of material. Let's see what it can do through a hose. Now, thinner the grind, you know, it should be able to go through this stuff without too much difficulty, you would think. This is actually a leftover from when we were full-time RVing for a whole year, me and the fam. This one has had some corrosion, some other stuff, so it's not useful anymore. Dude, let's go. That was great. Yard utility knife, here it is. Just pushing right through there. So again, edge and edge geometry, always the most important before you ever talk steel, but we're looking at that M390. M390, excellently known for its rust and wear resistance. Going through that paracord like it was a dream. There you go. Now, this is where any knife that has the choil, which this definitely has the choil. I don't use it too often. I don't feel like I have to. Some knives, they make it feel like you just basically can't even use the knife without it. And it does fully encapsulate my finger right there. But when if you're back here and you're going at cordage specifically, if you aren't paying attention, you will absolutely snag the choil, and then you got to kind of like hop it and then cut. So that's the I wouldn't say, yeah, I guess we'll just say drawbacks. One of the drawbacks of a choil-based knife. Now, again, because of their locking mechanism and what we're about to swap into with the automatic feature, you got to have that cut in to bypass all the stuff going on in the stop bar and everything. That's with the push button lock. Let's just look here really quick before we transition to a couple other materials after we swap the mechanism. That's some sprinkler. We just had to put sprinklers in recently. Oh yeah, dude. What's going on? What up? That was easy. So now the reason I have this taped up is we are going to swap from the manual operation to the automatic operation here on the fly. And that is a massive aspect to what WorkSharp is uniquely doing for us, the knife lover. The ship in the manual format nationwide, making it very easy to ship anywhere, but included in the box are all the hardware, the spring mechanism, the extra pivot to swap this to a push button automatic if you choose. And then spare parts. I wish more companies would also do this. How many times have we been doing maintenance on a pocket knife and we strip out a Torx, right? And now we got to contact the company or try and buy like aftermarket, whatever. This gives you, they send with this spare parts, spare springs, spare bearings, spare Torx screw. So if there's an issue, you don't have to now go through a bunch of hoops, and they do have their lifetime warranty. So just all those things coming together, really nice. Now, what we're gonna do here, we're gonna swap this down. Hopefully it's not gonna bounce on you guys too much. And I might speed this up a little bit. And they have great videos on their site on how to do this. There we go. There's the manual pivot. I'm holding down on that button because there is a spring on that button. I'm gonna drop the bearing out, set that, and then we just twist for the first click. Let me just swap this over. Now what's cool is that there are two settings. There's a light open and then like an extra snappy open. So you can even dial in the speed in which this opens up. So we should be all locked in now. I mean, that was it. Just takes a little bit of effort. It might take you 1 or 2 times, just kind of like set it in. That's how it always takes for me. I like to go with the snappier action. So now I've tightened it all the way. Bam. Always brings a smile to my face. Every time. I mean, look at how snappy that thing is. super awesome. And now I can swap it back to manual anytime I want. And it just gives you extra versatility. Now, one data point to always be aware of with this particular mechanism, because of the way you're able to swap it back and forth, this will not deploy. It is locked in the manual format, because that would be the same in the automatic format. So on manual mode, which is this one, you have to press and then it will release and then open, and that's how you open and close it. There are no thumb studs on this particular variant or this particular variant, so just be aware of that. Your only action point is the release button, the lock button right there. Okay, pricing, availability, and how does it stack up to the slightly less expensive RMX. We're going to talk about all of that here for you guys, because this is currently not available when I'm dropping this video. They are releasing the Madrone June 5th, 2026 at Blade Show. So they'll be available at Blade Show, available on their site. I will have an affiliate link popping up. It's in the description box below as well, over to the site. Appreciate if you want to pull the trigger on it. Using those hyperlinks helps me to continue to do what I do. And I appreciate WorkSharp sending me the sample so I can show you guys what it's capable of, limit it in, and help you determine and entertain you which model maybe makes more sense, or none of these. You're like, dude, these are, thanks. These are not up my alley. I'm looking for something different. Awesome. That's the point of this video, giving you the info so you can make wise choices and have the best tools for your needs in your EDC system. Now, costs, right? 180 bones, under $200 for an aluminum integral, American built handle, M390, 2 pivot options, ambidextrous. I mean, what is lifetime warranty? What is happening? What is happening? How is this even possible in 2026 to have a brand new design with different new materials? Awesome. Okay, so the value point is awesome. Now, when we compare it to the RMX, it's a little bit more expensive. RMX currently shipping for $150. So there's a $30 difference. And I believe mainly what the difference is the American, like, my understanding off their post, like sourcing that aluminum and then having it machined in the shop in Oregon, and then, you know, assembling in Oregon, all that stuff. So I believe that is really where we're seeing that cost. Now, on the RMX, and what WorkSharp originally did was they basically looked worldwide and said, who is doing the best? Like, who's doing the best M390? Who's making the best bearings? Who's making the magnesium and doing all that? And then they sourced it from the best places, assembled it in their shop in Oregon. They've done the same with this, but now more of this knife is being built and sourced and, you know, made here in America. There it is, guys. So $30 difference. Let me know. Now, for you, which one would make more sense? I'm going to tell you right now, you probably know. I'm a clip point guy. If you're asking me between the 3 blade shapes, clip point and the slightly more contoured sweep on the handle, the material doesn't matter, magnesium or aluminum. I'm like, whatever. They both feel great and they do what they're supposed to do. And then the slightly more ergonomic pocket clip, it just makes sense. I mean, for me personally, that doesn't mean that the RMX is bad in any way, shape, or form. It just means, like, if you were to put them both on the table and say, go EDC one today, I'm going to probably be taking this one. What do you think? Leave comments, questions. I'll do my best to answer. Appreciate you guys hanging with me today. Hope it's been fun, entertaining, and giving you the info you need to make a wise choice for your next EDC blade. Check out the other video. Subscribe. And until next time, always remember to stay equipped, stay prepared. See you out there.